Okay, today I'm going to be showing you guys how to plasti dip your rims, and more specifically I'm going to show you how to do it in cold weather, because right now it's in the middle of winter Chicago, snow outside on the ground, and I wanted to plasti dip the rims right now. So I'm going to show you guys some tips and tricks to do that, and hopefully it'll help you guys out if you ever need to do this to your car in the cold too. Now step one, and the most important step of this whole process, is that you want your rims completely clean and then the outside tire wall pretty clean too. So what you should have is some type of brush. You can get a bigger one than this, a rag to wipe it down and stuff, and then a bucket with a little bit of soapy water. So you're just gonna want to get your rag a little wet and just make sure you get on the outside and go all the way around. So then make sure you get in all the spaces. Alright, then once you get it all wiped down and you got all the soap off and everything, you want to make sure, go around with, you can go use the same rag, but make sure it's a dry spot and get off any excess moisture or water in here, so the plastic, it doesn't mix or anything with the plasti dip. Now that's all dry. So then now with your brush, if your tires aren't clean yet, just get a little bit on there, and you want to go around the edges of the tire. Okay, next step is that you're going to want to mask off your brake rotors and your pistons and everything in here, and then you're going to want to mask off your tire valve here too. So to do that, a tip here, you can get a full-size garbage bag like this, and take some scissors, cut it down the middle, all where it's almost about 3/4 of the way down, maybe just a little more than that. And you're going to take it and then like this, push it through. Here, I'll bring it closer. Push it through like this. And then push the one side back over the rotor and keep bringing it around like this. Now it's going to get, this may be the hardest part of the whole process, getting it through all these little gaps here, depending on what kind of wheels and rims you have. But so once you get it through like that, tuck it back under and behind, and you want to make sure that the bag isn't touching any of the back of the spokes, because when you spray you don't want it to stick to any of those parts. You can use like pencil or something if you need to get it back in your rim, but then make sure that's covered, because you don't want that to get sprayed in the process. And once you have that, take your masking tape, rip off a small piece, and just tape the two edges of the bags together so it doesn't come undone when you're spraying, and it keeps it sealed to keep it off of everything. You get one more piece just to make sure. And once you get the bag around, make sure again it's not touching any of the back edges. And then you take your tape again. If you have wide painter's tape, that's the best, so you can get it over this part. But also make sure it's not touching any parts of the rim again, but just get it so it won't get sealed off or anything while you're painting the rim. You can just crunch it up like that. So then that's the end of that step, and next we'll get to the painting. Okay, so you may have watched other how to dip your wheels and rims videos, and especially dipyourcar.com. He uses the dip release around the outside of the tire to make sure it's easy peel, and it usually, even without that, it should be fine. But another trick you could use is tire shine. This is Armor All Extreme Tire Shine Gel, and if you apply that to the outside of your rim or the outside of your tire, it'll also help release the dip, your overspray, and make it easier to peel. So if you get just a little bit of this, and you want to make sure you're careful not to get it on the rim, but if you just get a small, nice coat all the way around with this, it'll also help you release the dip and peel away your overspray. Now once you do that and get it on, you want to take your rag again and get it a little wet and get it in on the edge of your, like the rim here, to make sure you didn't get any on there. Make sure your plastic dip will still stick to the actual tire there, but this will help release it once you have your spray and you want to peel off the excess. Okay, so if you're going to be doing this in the cold, if you have access to a garage, that's going to be the best thing for you. If you can, park your car in there overnight so it has time to warm up the rims and everything, so they're not too cold and it'll bond easier. So then also, if you're doing this in the cold, in between coats, well, first the most important thing is when you're applying this to shake up your plastic dip really good so it gets mixed really good and everything, and keep the cans inside your house too to keep them warm. But then if you're in between coats, when you spray, when it's cold out, get a bucket of hot water, so then it'll, if you don't put it back inside, when you're done with your first coat, you put it in the water, and it'll keep the plastic dip nice and like warm and everything, and keep it from thickening up when you spray. Alright, so if you're not in a well ventilated area, you're going to want one of these, a respirator mask. It helps a lot because it'll stink a lot and it's not good for you. So once you get that on, you'll use one of those. So on your first coat in the cold, you want to make sure your rims are all clean and everything. They're warmed up. You can use a hair dryer if it's really cold to warm up your rim, but right now I'm in the garage and it's not too bad. But then, so shake up the can really well, 30 seconds to a minute. I'll speed this up in the video. Okay, like I said, your first coat is going to want to be really light, and you want to start on the outside of the rim. You want to get it thick on the outside wall, so eventually once you pile up your fourth and fifth coats, depending on how dark it needs to be, it's easy to peel off. So just make sure that you get inside, depending on what kind of rims you have, inside all these little holes and everything and crevices. But this coat really should not be dark at all. It should just be still speckled. And then once you're done with that, you want to wait 10 to 15 minutes in between coats, especially when it's cold, to make sure it adheres properly and you won't get any bubbles or peeling later on. So that's going to be your first coat. Wait 10 to 15 minutes, and after that 10 to 15 minutes done, take your dryer and you'll be able to make sure it's completely dry and be ready to put on your next coat. Alright, so we're back here after about 15 minutes for the second coat. So we're going to use our hair dryer to make sure it's dry. You just want to get any place that looks a little glossy, which means it's still wet because this applies in black matte. So now for our second coat, it's a little bit heavier, but you still want to go light and make sure you get all your spots. We wait another 10-15 minutes and we'll be back for coat number 3. Alright, again, we're going to use our hair dryer really quick. Now your third, fourth, and fifth coat, and maybe even sixth depending on what color tires or wheels you had before, are going to be start getting heavier and heavier. So it's going to be pretty much the same thing for those next few coats. Now what your last final steps are going to be, you're going to make sure you dry it again. Give it a little heat to dry it off again when it's definitely cold outside. Get all the wet spots that you can see. You'll be able to tell because they're going to be glossy with the light. So if you shine a flashlight around, you should be able to tell. Now after that is when you're going to want to start peeling your Plasti dip off your tire. Now you can see, you just roll it, kind of roll it with your finger off, and it'll start to come off pretty much very easily without any effort all the way around the tire. And that's going to be your finished product. There's going to be little pieces probably left around, so you can go get those. You can get a little something with a little sharp edge-ish to get all the little pieces out. If not, eventually they'll just fall off. But that's going to be your finished product. And once you're done with that, make sure you take off your masking tape. Already did that off your valves here, and then you're going to want to wait a little bit longer because you don't want to scratch anything, just in case, to make sure it cures enough. But then you're going to want to take your bags out finally, and then you'll be done Plasti dipping your rims. That's how you want to do it in the cold. Always make sure everything's clean and as warm as possible. Hope the tips and tricks I have in here helped out, using the tire shine to keep it and release it easier. Okay, so this is the final product after I ended up putting 6 coats on here, and I ended up using about a little over 3 cans. So I ended up using, so I bought 6, but I'm gonna return 2 because I used 3 cans, or a little bit of a 4th can. So if you needed to get by with 3 cans, you probably can by doing like 1 less coat on each rim. These are 19-inch rims, so if you have smaller ones, you'll use even less. So that's about it. You do those steps for every tire. Just repeat it for each 4, and just remember, make sure it's really clean when you start. You can come here. We'll give a little quicker look. I did hit. There's a little spot here. I don't know if you can see, but I hit it with the dryer and it made a little notch in there, which it got me mad a little bit. But other than that, it covered well and it peeled right off the tire there, no problems. Alright, so one day later here, this car has been parked outside all day in the cold. It's been about 25 degrees out, and everything's held up great, no problems. I only let the 6 coat dry for almost a half hour and had no problems. Everything's stuck on good and everything, no adhesion problems. So if you follow those steps, make sure it's heated up and cleaned well. Plasti dip seems to adhere very easily and very well to even your cold conditions. So that's about everything for this video. Hope it will help you guys out. I want to give a special thanks to my buddy here, Alec. He helped me out, spray them and everything.